later on.
Yeah.
Sure, we allowed it last time. I think it's something council can discuss if this is going to be a practice that we will entertain in the future. So at our next retreat, we should probably discuss that. But yes, go ahead.
Thank you.
That's be seating time at public comment. We want to just run that by ourselves and see if that's a practice we should entertain. Oh, are you coming up to use your time?
I can use it now. I can use it later. It's up to you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, we got to keep it to 3 minutes in your. Okay, but yep, please do. It's just when people come up to the podium to use the 3 minutes and then cede it to somebody else, we expect they will use the remainder of the time.
No, I understand. It's a ridiculous practice, which is why we're doing it. I got a timer here. Hello, councilors, Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Manager, Councilor Dwyer. I'm really glad you added a memorandum on public comment to tonight's agenda because it's something we've been talking about for a long time and one that needs changing. Public comment is important for the function of this governing body. You need to be sure in the decisions you make up here, and our committees need the same sort of surety. I've seen a lot of very useful public comment. I hope I've given some, maybe. That's the purpose of this, to be useful. I am here to be useful to you. However, there's an unspoken agreement in public comment. You have to tell the truth. Actually, it's not really unspoken. Anyone who knowingly speaks falsehood during public comment is guilty of tampering with public records. It's a misdemeanor. It's one we've had problems with before, with a still prominent local organization, as I'm sure many of you recall. Comments entered here enter the public record. You vote to verify them at the start of every city council meeting. You did so today. People can go watch public comment on TV and on YouTube and read it in the minutes. It makes sense, then, that someone would be expected to tell you the truth. That's why it's different from normal speech and why it has special rules. The public record is important. But this rule and the spirit of the rule and the spirit of public comment, for that matter, gets broken all the time. Everyone who has watched more than one of these meetings knows it. For a personal anecdote, just last week at a committee meeting, a woman I have never met or heard of in my entire life got up to the microphone and spoke my name, my wife's name, my employer's name, my friend's name, alleging we had threatened and attacked her, and also handed in a packet containing other implied accusations. Now, I've never met this woman before in my entire life. I've never had. Her name has never left my mouth and will not. It was such an egregious accusation that multiple people, including people I usually disagree with, reached out to apologize. I don't necessarily think this woman knew what she was up to. I think her coalition got her worked up enough to come give comment that they knew to be false, just vague enough that they thought she couldn't get in trouble, and she didn't have either the capability or desire to verify the truth of it, but still it was allowed to happen because that's the tone that's been set and the culture that's been created. Now it's in the public record. It got spoken in front of one of my bosses and another business associate that happened to serve on those committees. This was by design. It was retaliation for taking the wrong side. And we can stop pretending that a lot of this public comment isn't that, right? This isn't the first time this has happened. It has happened and will continue to happen to people far better than me. I'm sure other people have their own stories. I don't have to tell you that there's a spirit of intimidation that's around these meetings. In this chamber, we've experienced multiple instances of intimidation, slander, libel, and more. Disagreeing with a certain faction of citizens leads to calls to employers and landlords, LTEs, strange and threatening messages via social media, crazy accusations entered into the public record, and these are just the things we know about, but they're not all your problem. You know who these offenders are, and if you don't, I'm sure your fellow counselors can tell you. This group tries to run the room here to exclude people from the conversation, to make it as intimidating as possible to address you, to serve on a committee, and to make it intimidating to make decisions they don't like. They're using public comment as a component of the strategy because they know that it enters the public record and their victims won't have a chance to respond. May I have maybe a paragraph more, Mr. Mayor?
Paragraph more, but you won't, at the end, I'm going to let you use some of your time then.
Thank you. I'm telling you this is a problem. I don't think I need to go into further detail because I know you've observed this. It's not exactly covert. You have the power to change it. This body has the power to disinvite and bar or suspend people from public comment with a majority vote. You can make new rules on public comment beyond what already exists with a majority vote, as Councilor Dwyer is proposing tonight. And you should give your committees the ability to bar or suspend people from the public comment as well. We talk about a return to respect. This has been a theme in the last few city council meetings. I am hoping that you will make this podium not a place for salaciousness, not for retaliation or revenge against political enemies, but the people's business. I am entering some recommendations into the public record. If you'd like
you.
an addendum to Councilor
Just
Dwyer's
pass them forward.
really well received
Time's up.
recommendations.
Time's up.
Thank you.
Next.